Welcome to Rising Woman Leaders, a safe space for women to thrive in community where their voices and stories are heard. We're a sisterhood supporting each other to live our dreams and embody the sacred feminine to restore balance on our planet. Join us each week as we return to the unconditional love and guidance of our heart and our womb. I'm your host, Meredith Rom, and I invite you to walk this path of beauty, devotion, and service with us. I'm thinking of you all and wanted to just share some messages that I've been sitting with recently and just wanted to check in, and I'm curious how you all are doing. We're going through a huge shift on the planet right now, and I imagine if you're here, you deeply care about the state of the world. I imagine if you're here, you may be feeling a lot that's been coming up in these past few weeks and months. I know a lot of you may be highly sensitive or empathic, and I just wanted to share a message with you. Just acknowledge yourself for being here at this time. How courageous your soul is for choosing to be here at this time. As I've been tuning in and meditation and writing and connecting with Mary Magdalene in particular, I've been receiving message around anti-racism work, it being work of the heart. I know there's a lot of confrontation energy in the work, and I just want to remind you that there are different ways that this is going to look for everyone. And a way that has really been coming through for me has been allowing myself to see what's happening in the world, allowing my heart to break, and allowing these denser consciousnesses to be lifted through this work of feeling. And for you to know that this is a contribution, and looking at what's happening in the world and allowing your heart to break from all of it, to get to tap into that space. Like, that's so often where real evolution and revolution and change can come from. It's so important to be looking at our intentions and our motivations behind wanting to show up in work around anti-racism. Is it something that you're feeling pressure or shame or fear around, or is it something that is bubbling up inside you to be speaking up about? And or are you just unsure and confused? Whatever it is, I know that if you're here, that you deeply care and that you are showing up in the way that you need to right now. And to just remind you that doing the work of the heart and of feeling is an act of transmuting these darker consciousnesses that have been being revealed so that they can be purged and lifted. So my understanding of just what's happening in the world right now, and I think I've talked about this before, but this idea that every 2,000 or so years, our planet goes through a big transformation. And we've been going through that transformation right now. We're shifting from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, the age of which was more about water and teachers and gurus and things like that. We're going into more of this self-directed energy of really finding what's true for us. And also with this, we're shifting into the energy of air, which is Aquarius. And we can see a lot of inventions and things that are coming to the surface right now are about airwaves and sound healing and the internet existing and cell phones, and all of this is part of this new evolution of consciousness. I mean, as much turmoil and grief and pain is being experienced in the world right now, one of the things I'm also noticing is that the ability for our collective consciousness to unite around something so quickly has been profound. For us all to, back when COVID-19 started, to just notice that, okay, so many governments were able to organize and make decisions and implement something really quickly into our communities. And with Black Lives Matter movement, it's like, okay, so many people gathered together in solidarity. This is not okay anymore. We're going to make change. Although it is sad that it has taken so long for this to really come to the forefront, it's also just good to recognize that our evolution of our consciousness is at a point where we can really choose something that's time to focus on and to shift and to make actual change. And my feeling is that this is going to keep unfolding this year and coming years of, okay, what's this next issue? And let's look at it. Let's feel the pain around it. Let's let our hearts really break and uncover the dense consciousnesses underneath all that has been happening, to allow it to be purged and to emerge. Especially when it comes to anti-racism work, I just want to remind you something that I was speaking with one of my mentors today. My mentor, who I've been working with for the past couple months. She is a Black queer woman and has been doing this work for a long time. Hopefully we'll have her on the podcast in the coming months. But just this reminder that this work is a marathon, not a sprint. And we don't need to burn ourselves out. We actually need to take space and rest and know that we're in this for the long run. This might be a lifetime of looking at this work. So yes, read the books and listen to the webinars and do the things you've been doing, but just know that this sense of urgency can be harmful. And we need to really look at being involved in this for the long run. But coming back to this idea that consciousness really takes a shift every 2,000 or so years, what I really believe is that we are shifting into a golden age. That 2,000 years ago, around the time when Jesus and Mary Magdalene were walking the earth, that they prophesied and knew that this time was coming. They knew that the last 2,000 years was going to be a pretty dark time, and that consciousness would begin to shift into these higher states to enter into a new golden age. Now, it might take time to really get there, to move into this new consciousness. It might be 40, 50, 100 years until we're really, really living in a new society. Because in the 3D world, things take time to shift. But we are at the brink and the beginning of this incredible time of transformation. This is ascension. This is all of us waking up into the things that we can no longer be quiet about, that all the injustices in the world, like this is not something we can sit and keep happening around us without doing something or saying something. Now, many of us may not have thought that this is what ascension would look like, shelter in place and protests in the street, but I actually really do believe this is what's happening. And when I tune into my guides and Mary Magdalene, the feeling, the energy that they're holding is what is to come is more beautiful than you could ever imagine. These systems that are breaking down right now, it's like, yes, destruction needs to happen in order for something new to be reborn. It sometimes gets really messy before there is this new birth and this new paradigm. And we're figuring it out together. We're all looking into ourselves to be our own teachers now and to discover how to transmute these dense energies through our own bodies and to allow this evolution in consciousness to take place. It is no small act just to be here, to be bearing witness, to be participating through this, through your own feelings and your own body. So I really honor you for showing up and being here and doing this work. I want to invite you to be really extra aware about any fear or shame or frozenness that's coming to the surface, because this is also coming up to be purged. As much as the darkness and the collective consciousness and all the white supremacist energy and everything that's been coming up and these painful things that we are all looking at, also what is coming up to be purged are these darker, denser energies of shame and fear and self-punishment. If you have any tendency to punish yourself, just to really notice that and to do what you can to offer that to the earth. There's a practice that I use really often, and the way it works is first I just look at the situation, look at the issue at hand, look at what I'm feeling, to call upon my guides and to speak and to go outside into nature if I can and to speak this out to the universe. What am I feeling? What's the situation at hand? Is there anywhere I can take responsibility? That's step number 2. And then to just visualize and imagine these denser consciousnesses and energies all being piled up into a ball of garbage or smoke, whatever it might look like for you. And then to just offer it up to the divine, and to even imagine lifting it up with your hands and asking Spirit, this greater consciousness, to come down and to lift it up and out into the universe. And in that process, to just ask for help, to be willing to be humble and not to know, and to know that's perfect and that's okay. Just to really be aware and conscious of any self-hate that's coming up at this time, knowing this is also coming up to be cleared, and to really acknowledge yourself for being here on this planet at this time. Your soul chose this. You are so courageous for being here. Thank you for being here, for showing up, for being willing to do this deep work that's going to involve a lot of feeling, a lot of transmutation. It's not easy, and you're here and you're doing it and you're doing great. This is also a really powerful time to be looking towards the voices of women of color. And in the show notes, I'm going to be including some of our favorite episodes with women of color, just to be diversifying what we are listening to. I also invite you to look towards other podcasts and look towards books and what am I reading and what information am I taking in and how can I be broadening my perspective of the voices that I'm hearing. I definitely feel dedicated towards bringing more voices of color on this podcast and really deepening in this work and sharing with you all what I'm learning along the path. And with that, to just know that this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. This is going to take time. It takes time to develop real and authentic relationships and to be taking action from a place of intention rather than fear or shame or, oh God, this is the thing I need to be doing because everyone else is talking about it. How can you just slow things down in a way of like, okay, I'm in alignment with myself and I'm broadening my perspectives and I'm doing the work, and just see where that leads you. Be aware around judgment, judging your own experience, how other people are responding to things, doing your best to notice when that comes up. How can we come back to our center, our breath, to really offer up what is not serving to the earth or to the heavens, and to come from that place of compassion and love. So much shift and change can happen from that place. And yes, of course, if you're feeling anger, if you're feeling rage, express that too. Allow that to come out, and let's do our best to really allow that to come up and out in ways where it can be moved and it's not shaming or judging or directing that. Although that messiness might come up too, and that's okay. And let's not judge ourselves for that, but just continue to realign and continue to come back to the breath, to continue to come back to what's in your heart, what brings you into your heart, what is breaking your heart about what's happening in the world right now, and how can you feel that? How can you let your heart break? Feel the tears. Know that that is part of the work of why we're here. These denser energies, these consciousnesses are coming up and out through our bodies to be purged. So let's all continue to show up, to know that we're doing our best, and that this is going to take time to really shift and dismantle these systems that we've been living in. This weekend is the summer solstice. It's the time of the longest day. I always find that the solstices and the equinoxes, the veils are thinner. We have access to greater realms and information. Pay attention to your dreams. See if you can make space for meditation. If you have been experiencing more pain physically or emotions moving through your body, just know that these higher energies of light the earth is being permeated with this right now, and our job is to be really present and to love ourselves through it, and to come back to our practices. I know I've been really coming back to my yoga practice and creating space for that in the mornings and watching videos. I have some awesome yin yoga videos. If you'd like to be doing a practice at home, I'll include that in the show notes as well. Think about your self-care and ways that you can be in prayer and communion this weekend. I honor you all so much for being here. And I look forward to sharing more content with you in the coming months. I'm preparing new podcast episodes to be sharing with you. And just know everything you're learning and taking in right now is so valuable. I'm going to share some podcast episodes in the show notes that I invite you to go back to and listen to. So send you all so much love from my heart to yours. Namaste. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. If you liked it, share it with a friend or leave us a review on iTunes. You can also follow along on Instagram at Rising Woman Leaders and sign up for email updates at risingwomanleaders.com to be sure to receive all the new and inspiring content. Thanks again for being here. It's an honor to walk this path with you.